So, guys, this is for Spirit Chronicles episode 6 that dropped today. And it's definitely a great episode, but there are some things that happen that's going to more than likely shift some things moving forward from this episode. But with that, let's jump into this review of episode 6. Let's get it. So, the episode was titled basically just a celebration of the village, more so a celebration for Rio and Latifa. So, basically, they celebrated their 1 year anniversary of them coming here and being accepted by this place and Idris and her people, the elders, all of that. So basically, this was there to celebrate them. So basically, Idris, she basically kissed the forehead of both Latifa and Rios. They glowed, and that was basically fully accepted into this village, which I want to say that I kind of agree with that. I feel like yeah, you can celebrate this festival. I mean, granted, it's per their culture, right? And how they waiting a full 300 days to actually accept them. I would have probably more or less accepted them maybe 5 months, 6 months in, maybe a little bit less than that. Probably had the festival a little bit earlier than understand where the villagers are coming from if they didn't really fully trust them, didn't know them, needed to really know them. So I can understand a full year of truly trusting Rio and Latifa, but at the same time, this celebration per their culture. So I agree with and that I personally would have probably wanted them to do, or I would have done probably a little bit early, but other than cool like Kool-Aid. Now, like I had talked about at the end of episode 5, where Ria's here, he basically took this boy with him into this cave way out yonder to grab this egg. And eventually, when they were traveling away from the cave, where the creatures were supposed to be living, turned out that these creatures are dragons. And I was basically talking about in my review of episode 5 last week that I felt like because he took the egg, it was for a specific plan and such, which involved those dragons. So of course, that is the case. The dragons are following them because they realize that one of their eggs have been taken. Um, but Rias here is basically telling the boy that I have this thing here, this sort of architect. It's a protection. Um, which I felt like in the beginning, I felt like he was saying like this is like because he told him if you swallow this thing here, this pill here, basically that I'll be able to know where you're at, so I tracker. Um, but he told him if you swallow it, I'll be able to know where you're at, and you go in this specific direction and take the Griffith with you, and I'll be able to know exactly where you are located. But again, the ultimate plan of what he wants to do is to get those dragons in the direction of where they're at. And actually, they are actually not far from the festival night itself. So there's again that was one of the reasons why he brought them here specifically to cause some issues. So, but another scene here with Rio and Latifa. So they're basically just out. They're enjoying themselves from the festival itself, just to have just a just a outing with each other a little bit. But Rio is he's a bit quiet. Latifa's pretty much like noticing this, and it's there's a reason why. Rio basically tells her like, "Hey, Latifa, I remember when I told you that I'm heading in a specific direction. If I remember correctly, he was going heading east. He basically heading people's region, which is the Yagumo region. He basically said to her like, I he was asking like, do you enjoy being here? Do you enjoy living here? She says yes, especially because he's there. But he tells her like, hey, I understand all of this, but I'm gonna eventually gonna have to leave, and I'm gonna have to keep you here. She got upset. I understand, because she's so attached to him. They have that type of brother sister bond, and she really looks up to Rio, even though even in the midst of you know the type of attachment that she has with him, he just realizes that he still wants to head home, but he can't take her with him because he feels like it'll be too dangerous, and she needs to be she'll be safer here with Lady Drius and her folks. So in the at the end of this conversation, basically Latifah runs off because she's upset. I understand Rio still wants he doesn't want to get too comfortable here. You know, Latifah is definitely comfortable. She could basically live for the rest of her life. Rio feels he can't. He wants to go home. He would want to stay over there, and I feel like he would feel more comfortable if he could bring her with her. But I feel like he believes that she's more comfortable here, even though he would be with her, but he's not comfortable there. So it's just like he just needs to go home because he still feels out of place living amongst Lady Drius and her people. But of course, Latifah is real comfortable with Lady Drius and her people. So again, I understand both sides of the coin when it's pertaining to this conversation. Per what he really wanted to do, per his plan. Well, because the dragons were heading in the direction of the festival night and everything, and of course the dragons don't know specifically who took the egg from them. They're just following in that direction. He basically goes all of the eggs from the cave here. So I don't know specifically where he takes them. As you can see, the glowing from underneath, the eggs flow down below. So they must have he must have used his power to send them somewhere. So he basically like took all of these eggs here. So this is a part of another piece of his plan, which I'm still curious about because I'm feeling like he's gonna use dragon eggs and probably look to build his own dragon moving forward in the anime. So it's just something that I found very interesting when it's pertaining to him and him coming back to the dragon cave here. So eventually the dragons actually get to the festival night. They get here, they attack the people. They because again they're going after their egg, right? But the thing is that um like Lady Drius and her their people end up coming after the boy that had the egg because he was in the surrounding area. So they come after him to question him. They one of them notices that he has an egg. They're asking him what kind of egg it is. He doesn't even answer. He just hops on his griffin and starts running away. But in the midst of all of that happening, they end up using magic to shoot magic in his. And they hit him. He falls off of the griffin and falls down, cracks, and it basically breaks. And the baby dragon is lying on the ground. But the I guess like the mother dragon pops up and she's attacking them, the area. She's trying to fight off the dragon. Just a whole bunch of just a whole bunch of action and stuff popping up until where it seemed like the dragon was getting ready to kill Latifah. This is when Rio finally pops up to save the day, and that battle itself was it was just really really cool. It just seemed just really really unstoppable. Just like he could just, and that's the thing, like the dragon there, but it didn't fully stop. Extra magic power to stop it, and he basically just like took it out with ease, and it was just really really cool to see. So just a great action spot towards the end of this episode. See Rio do what he did in episode 5 here. Excuse me, episode 6 that I just really really enjoyed. Night. So once we get to the next day, Rio and Latifah have a very interesting conversation. They're just talking about things and just really going, re they're basically re-going over the conversation they had the night before about Rio leaving, and was basically apologizing because she was saying like I felt selfish and longing for you to stay here and not uh, accepting your wish of going back home. But with that, Latifah ends up talking about something very great, in my opinion. She brings up the fact that she was reincarnated, that she used to live in Japan, and she got reincarnated here, and she didn't feel comfortable talking to Rio about it. But Rio, of course, he says to her like, "Hey, it's totally fine because I understand why. Because I too was reincarnated as well, and I'm from Japan as well. So, and the thing about that, they were people on the bus that day that they died and then eventually got reincarnated. But they just mentioned the fact that they were reincarnated and they lived in Japan. So this conversation was really great in my opinion that they had this conversation here. I just really enjoyed the fact that they brought this up and that they can finally have something truly in common, uh, specifically because, again, they were both reincarnated and they actually were, near each other in their past life, and they in this reincarnated life that they live now. Just heading off to Yagumo, to his region, to his he's basically flying off here, but he has a very somber, uh, very sad, but also just happy send off from the villagers, from Latifa. They give him they give him this look here, some I believe it was a sword, if I remember correctly. It was a sword, something else that he attached to his left wrist, I believe, and it could store all of that because it was a lot of stuff that they gave him. But it was just basically just saying, like, thank you for being with us, for protecting us and stuff like that. And Rio was basically saying, like, if anything, if this place is ever in danger, I promise you I will come running. So it was just, again, one of those very great send offs, but again sad too because Latifah was crying at the end. They got a chance to hug and say goodbye. Because again, like I said earlier in the video, that they are kind of like brother and sister and stuff like that. They're treating each other like that. They have that type of close bond together with each other. So I just really enjoyed episode 6 a lot when it's pertaining to when it's pertaining to Rio and Latifah in these specific moments. Just really touching. But again, like I said, Rio's heading off. He's flying off and looking to get back home so he can be able to get to his parents and other. Because to me, it sounds like his mother's alive per this life. I'm not sure. Many conversations that he's brought up about his parents. So this is one of those things that I'm kind of just questioning and wondering, and definitely will find out come, I guess, episode 7 or 8 or 9, whichever comes first. But that's pretty much episode 6, guys, in my review. What did y'all think of episode 6 when you watched it? What did y'all think of the festival night and everything? Let's have a conversation in the comment section below if you feel up to it, and I will talk to you all next time with more Spirit Chronicles. Peace, guys.